Hi everyone, so in this video I'm going to show you the Stone Alpha dashboard and how in under 5 minutes you're going to be able to select some stocks which have a lot of credibility and integrity in the valuation metrics today. So you're going to go into stonealpha.com, you'll go into the dashboard, click on stocks here on the top, and you will see a whole screener that is presented to you. Now, this screener for all my Patreon subscribers, Substack subscribers, they are going to get complimentary benefit to export this into CSV, and you'll get all 84 columns, I think it's 83 columns, with all the information about these companies, and you can then filter and feed your AI systems, ask the relevant questions, because then it can do certain research for you. But it's everything from number of employees, how much is invested in R&D, to their balance sheet, cash flow statements, income statements. Everything's here for over 530 companies, but eventually this is going to be over 1,000 companies because we are doing some other data cleansing, so we're not importing junk and boiler rooms and things like this. What doesn't come in the export is these four features here, the ranges that you get. This is going to be exported as just an arbitrary number, so you won't get these four, but you get everything else. But I'll show you what else you get is that, so you could filter from here, you could click into the stock over here, it'll do a price modeler, then you could play around with the P multiples just to see what those kind of target values may be. So for example, over here, we know that the forward earnings are going to be $8.96 multiplied by 23 gives you the current price. And if we say, okay, it's 23 times the expected earnings, that's where we're priced right now. Historically, we know that the company's been priced at 32 times earnings. We can then kind of model that out and say, okay, let's take it to 32 times. And then let's say the growth, what was the growth before? The growth before was 110%. So we're currently growing here at assuming 37%. So let's just say that's 40, arbitrarily say it's 45, 50%. So it's lower than their previous year's growth, which we expect. It can't just keep growing at that rate. Then we see the price target is around $300, right? So going back to the screener, you will also have an indication of where those price targets are. Look, 59 analysts on this right now. Target median is 288, target low, target high. So look, some analysts are on the $500 mark right now. Here you go. Look, target $298. So you could see some analysts are probably using that approach, but there's so much more to this. You could have various views over here. You could view by their ranges, you could view by valuation, you could view by thematics, because this is also an important concept now. You want to see, things like space, who are these Rocket Lab Corporation. That's an interesting one worth looking at, 71 billion in value. You click onto that, you could do the modeling. Hey, you could see there's some traction here over the last year. This is an interesting one. Oh, look at how awesome. This is just obviously riding off the SpaceX. This is interesting. Okay, look, I missed this. Okay, I missed this, but it begs the question, how much more is to go? Because this is making a loss per share, so it's missed off many filters. But from a thematics perspective, it's hit the filters, and hence why it's kind of skyrocketing now. So what do? Rocket Lab, a space company, provides launch services, and okay, sure, we're going to do plenty of launching globally. Let's see what the EPS. Oh, so it's negative all the way. They're not earning much money. But hey, this is interesting as well. How that marginal growth is starting to come into range. So anyway, look, this is the kind of stuff that we're going to find here on this platform. Okay, this platform that, by the way, you're also going to get on this platform in time to come an expanded view of what they're up to. Okay, it's not just going to be, hey, this is roughly Rocket Lab. It's going to be, we're pulling the data from the disclosures information, and we are going to get a comprehensive amount of data. So what did they say in the earnings call? What's the look and feel of that? Okay, I'm going to jump here to stock report. Okay, stock report. In fact, look, we got a term sheet here. So term sheet and stock report are more or less the same thing, but we're going to go through stock report because that's something interesting as well. Now, stock report, what this does is it looks at Warren Buffett's logic, methodology, philosophy. It looks at Peter Lynch, Benjamin Graham, kind of looks at George Soros, but I'm going to probably remove him from the list because his philosophy is more macro based, and I've only bought him in on some of the macro features, so I think it kind of dilutes the overall scoring. And we have here Philip Fisher as well. It is Philip Fisher, right? Yes. Sorry, Peter Philip. I always confuse the names here. But anyway, Philip Fisher, who also comes into this methodology. So what I do is I have a weighting philosophy here that where I pull their attitude to investing, say return on invested capital. That was what Warren Buffett was, one of his big metrics. Peter Lynch used growth. Benjamin Graham was more around the DCF. So they had their way of valuing things, but I've kind of compressed them into a methodology whereby we've got the Stone Alpha score, right? It's Stone Alpha score is not my own score, it's everyone's score weighted in a certain way that kind of gives light and illuminates what's possible out there. So if I look at, for example, Buffett, okay, he's got Adobe, and we look at Peter Lynch, yep, and ADSK's come out. So you go into this, then you could see everything about that. It gives you, what you saw in those screeners, it will just present that to you in a more compact view. It currently passes 10 out of the 12 screeners. So it's that's a very high score for what I've seen over there. And just so you see, you could click on here to see how we actually score that as well. Save the PDF and then open that, and then you get a nice printable view of everything. You could take that to your crowd and say, hey, look, I found this. And AI is not going to give you this, right? AI is not, you could ask AI, hey, I'm a JP Morgan analyst, I'm looking for a stock and I want something that's got this and that, and it's not going to give you something comprehensive. I've tried it in many forms and it's very difficult. What we have to do, for example, let me go back to the screener. Let me show you this. Look, EPS growth, right? 3,860%. Now, if you fed this into AI and AI is returning something with that kind of growth, how do you know instantly that there may be anomalies in this? So we cover that. So you click, whoops, let's do that again. Let's go there. We cover that here by commenting that, the prior year was 0.22, well below the 5-year average. So there was some kind of anomaly there that we need to take care of. So we're accounting for that. We're accounting for double counting of some of the the returns on invested capital. How things can, for example, the negative values of working capital. That could have two meanings. So we've already cleansed that through the logic here. Most of the apps are not doing that. So this isn't just an arbitrary run-of-the-mill throw something in. There are a lot of front-end and back-end computations that take place for us to come out with the results that we do. That's why I'm not doing it on tens of thousands of stocks just yet, because the more stocks, the more room for errors. And believe me, there are plenty of opportunities in this. I think this was supposed to be a very quick video, right? So anyway, did we find a stock or did we not? No, let's do that again. We'll go through, look, let's just ask the legends, what have you got? You have got, let's say, I'm just picking out randomly now because we can look at all of these, right? They're all good. All of these have something good to tell us. But I'm just going to see Expedia because I'm thinking, hold on, the war, something's happened, depressed stock, and this is likely to go back up. Currently trading at around its 200 moving average, and I'll go through this and say, okay, yeah, look, potential upside here is 27%, so it's not a lot, but it's a decent amount. Let me just see if I've programmed in a way to by upside. Yeah, so it does filter it by upside potential here. Okay, so you got that as well. If my mouse decides to behave, which it doesn't want to, so you got that as well. Okay, so this is really interesting, and you could see that they're kind of pulling up all the declining stocks. So you have to be brave to understand why they are still buys, and it usually boils down to the kind of yield we're getting on their cash, the growth. You get a SWOT analysis here done on the stock, but this particular PDF is actually going to come out with a narrative around all of this as well, right? So it justifies the numbers we're seeing here. Okay, so hopefully that's useful, and welcome to the Patreon site if you're watching this on Patreon. Welcome to YouTube channel if you're watching this on YouTube, and of course welcome to Substack if you're watching this there. Thank you very much.